What have men ever done for us that has been worth keeping them around? Seriously, you want to ask that question?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I am so tired of our society pretending like men don't matter, like masculinity doesn't matter. They do matter.
Would you ever work a job like this? These guys are called roughnecks and they're working a very intense job on a drilling rig. Working on rigs like this take a ton of strength and is extremely exhausting. And sometimes you might even have to work 12 hours on a hot day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome or welcome back to the Talk Podcast. So, today I want to address a bit of a different topic that nonetheless will still have something to do with relationships in a more larger perspective, right? I want to talk about hard jobs, jobs that we really don't think about on a day to day basis, but these are the jobs that actually are probably one of the most important ever, right? I cannot even name you most of those jobs because I can be honest about it. I don't really think about it. I don't recognize it all the time, right? I think about the cashier, I think about someone who works in the banking industry, I think about someone who works in healthcare, I think about someone who's, I don't know, driving a taxi, stuff like that and more. But I don't really think about the hard jobs that makes our society run. And with all the other jobs that you put into, we really need to recognize and think about who is the majority, who are the people taking on these jobs. And maybe sometimes we need to kind of remind ourselves to be a bit more appreciative of these people who are taking on these hard and not only hard jobs, but dangerous jobs that we all need to be, especially us here in the West, to be able to experience and keep enjoying this luxury. Be honest that at the end of the day, all these things are necessary for our comfort to work, for our safety to work, for our infrastructure to work. And we all benefit from it, but we need to give thanks and actually recognize the people who make this work. And the people are, what a surprise, they are men. I'm not trying to say women are not in these jobs or not, contributing, but we are talking about the majority, and the majority are men. Men are the one who are taking on the ugly, the dirty, the dangerous, the hard jobs, the jobs that we don't really talk about, that I've never really thought about. The chain of things that needs to happen for you to actually get the end result. We don't really think and talk about that, right? All these jobs that happen in background, right? All these things that we women, and we need to be honest about it, we don't want to do. No one of us, most of us, we don't want to put ourselves in a dangerous position where you get dirty and it's dark and you just don't know what the situation could turn out to be. We don't want to put ourselves in that position, but men are willing to do that for the greater good. And that is really remarkable. But that is something that we can actually say, yes, we recognize this in our society and we are grateful for it, right? So I'm going to be making a lot of things clear because I can see how someone is going to listen into this topic and just take it completely wrong. One thing is, every other job, every other position in our society has its importance. And we can be grateful to everyone on a day to day basis, right? That doesn't mean you need to go and walk towards someone, oh my God, I'm so grateful. No, it's something that you appreciate within you. You acknowledge that, just acknowledge that you are aware of what happens in life and what it takes for us to actually enjoy all the things that we have. It's just a bit of being humble and being, just grateful. Doesn't bother anyone. So there's just one thing I need to make clear. I guess it's a nice attribute that maybe we can all take on. That's one thing. The other thing that I need to make clear, because I can see how someone is going to come in and want to take this wrong, me talking about men and addressing the majority of a situation or in a topic does not mean that women are less than, does not mean that women cannot or not capable of, does not mean that women are not even already in those fields, right? You are going to find that some jobs you will see that yes, women are definitely interested to join and contribute for society. And you will find that some other jobs, women are really just not interested, or maybe for some good reason, maybe even shouldn't be in that, right? So we need to be just clear on some
What
things.
have men ever done for us that has been worth keeping them around?
Now, going back to how the video clip started, giving this question, to me, I find it a very odd question. And I find it wrong. And I would find it wrong in the same sense when someone would say, what have women ever contributed? What are women actually doing in society? Why should we keep them around? Think about it. It just doesn't make sense. To say something like that is you just being against humanity in general. That's my stand on that. It doesn't make sense. I wouldn't support this kind of narrative or this kind of question. I just don't even understand it, right? But now that when we want to talk about who are the people who are really covering important jobs, who are the people who are actually putting themselves in dangerous positions, who are the people who are working these jobs that no one wants to talk about, it's men. And if we can admit that, things are going to be fine, right? And the thing is, it stands in relationship not only to how we see things in perspective of us as a large society, but on a day-to-day basis, on a relationship level. I'm sure you guys have been hearing this narrative of what do we need men for? Men are trash. We don't need men. I don't need a man. It digs down. It just spreads and it boils down in every area in life when you start hearing people, even in relationships, saying, I do not need a man. What can a man do for me? But if you look at everything that you do experience in life, all the comfort, all the safety, all the everything, it boils down to some way, shape, or form a man standing behind something, doing something, moving or shaking something to make whatever result that you're enjoying it as an whatever result that you're enjoying as in that moment. It was some man who did that for you, and that is just the reality. And the other thing is, we are different in interest, we are different in nature. The moment we accept that and understand that, which doesn't mean that you cannot be interested vice versa and the opposite, right? No, that's perfectly fine. But largely in majority, you will find that there are some areas that women are going to be more interested in when it comes to social stuff, when it comes to care, when it comes to, being more creative, when it comes to being like finding ways to innovate, communicate, building communication, all these kind of areas, you would see that it's largely covered by women because we are interested in things like that. And when it comes to maybe more technical stuff, mechanic stuff, you would see that men are largely more interested in that, right? And for our society to work, we need to admit that we need men, right? We all want things to work, so just admit that we need men and actually give the grace to them, because it is not easy to be out there doing these things day by day. And even the positions where you would think, oh, it's more prestigious, you sit there in your nice office, air conditioned, what the feminists most likely would strive for, is also very difficult. It's not easy. If you're in a position where you're responsible for a large number of people, large number of finance, and you're working, 12, 14, 16 hours a day, it's not that large of a group of women who want to do that. And there are good reasons why they don't want to do that. There are good reasons why they're just not interested in doing that, right? And it's perfectly fine. I think the moment we take away the shame of, oh my God, I'm competing with a man, I need to do that too. And because if I can do it, and then that means he's less than, and like all these weird stuff, if we can take that away, things are just going to be easier. And then what's going to happen is that we are then going to go back to actually appreciating the power of women, right? And women are going to go back to feeling, I guess, you can choose what you want to do, but go back to feeling more comfortable in the things that they actually enjoy without pressure. And then also, if they wanted to really tap into a complete different field, what we would say that is more masculine, they would actually do that with much more support and much more comfort. Because why? It's not difficult to admit that, yes, I want to tap into this. This is maybe not my natural interest, but I want to learn this. But if I admit that, okay, men can do it really well and I can cooperate, they're going to literally help me get there easier. It's going to put you in a position of not always having to fight and fuss and prove to the world. No, because at the end of the day, no one is stopping you from doing whatever, but we need to be honest about admitting the truth. And in reality is there are so many jobs. Like, look at your day-to-day transportation is largely covered by men. The taxi driver, largely covered by men. The security systems, largely covered by men. The system that covers all infrastructure, largely covered by men. Electricity, all these things that you don't even think about. I don't even think about it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't really think about it. Largely covered by men, right? Because they can do it, they are interested in doing it, and they are really willing to put themselves in these positions. So take it or leave it. I hope you had fun. See you in the next one. Bye.